Welcome to Faith in 5, a weekly video devotional designed to discuss practical spiritual concepts in 5 minutes or less. I'm your host, Mark Vandella. I have the opportunity to meet with people and talk about how we function as teams quite often, and I like to joke with people that this job would be a lot easier if it weren't for all the people. And one of the places that this shows up most is when we're driving, right? Somebody who's going too slow is obviously an idiot. Right? And somebody who blows past us is going too fast is a maniac. But I think we could all step back for a moment and say we've been both to somebody else. Right? Perspective seems to keep us pigeonholed in a spot that if you don't see things the way I do, then you're wrong. And if I don't see things the way you do, then I'm wrong. And maybe there's a little bit more room for that in our lives, our everyday lives, but I would also say in our faith journey. We are starting a new series that's based on a book by Bob Goff called Everybody Always. And it really takes a look at dealing with this world and what God asks of us in the midst of all these crazy people. And admittedly, we're one of those crazies. The world is full of good people, fun people, difficult people, and even, as Bob calls some of them, creepy people. But the way that our faith works, the way that God designed this world is that we regularly engage with each other. We interact with each other. We bump into and bump off of each other. Our faith is designed to be done alongside each other. And so in these moments where we're the person, where our life isn't quite exactly what we want it to be, maybe we're the person going too slow, we're the maniac going too fast, that God sees us differently. Bob says that God sees who we're becoming, not who we were or who we are, but who we're becoming. And what would it look like in our faith if we took a step back and started seeing the people who are easy for us to deal with, our friends, the fun people, the good people, because they're like us, right? What if we saw them as who they were becoming? We saw the potential in them. And then the difficult people, the creepy people, the hard people, the mean people, what if we saw them also for their potential, what they could be? It would change our perspective entirely, and it would make us look a lot more like Jesus. See, the hard part about the religion that we live today is that Christianity is, at least in the Western world, is pretty popular, it's pretty common, and we only get a taste. We really only kind of know Jesus. We know of him, we know a lot about him, but it's really hard to know him deeply when we only deal with people who are just like us and not the people who are not like us. Because if you read the stories about Jesus, he regularly didn't look for people who just agreed with him. In fact, he spent a lot of time with people who didn't agree with him. And he spent a lot of time with difficult people. And so Bob makes the argument in his book that what would it look like in our faith journey? Would we know Jesus more? Would we be closer to God if we spent more time with those difficult, the creepy, the hard to manage people? Do you think that we would feel more like we were in this together and that we had each other? See, in John 13:35, there's an example of Jesus. People are asking him some questions about what this world looks like and who we're supposed to be with and what does it look like to be one of his disciples. And Jesus says, you know what? Love one another. Just love one another. This is how the world will know that you're one of my disciples, by the way that you love one another. And we love to grab that and think, yeah, that sounds great because everybody that's like me, I love them. I love my brother, I love my sister, I love my family, I love my friends, but what about the people who are difficult to love? Jesus also says, love your enemies. So if we put those two things together, it's pretty clear that if we want to know Jesus more, we need to step into the lives of people who are more unlike us. So this week, as you live out your faith, take the challenge. Bob Goff's book, Everybody Always, is a great read. I recommend it. but take the challenge to do something different. Do one thing that would show somebody that we're in this together. Even though I don't agree with you, I may not even like you, but I'm going to extend something. I'm going to do something that takes one step towards them so that not only could they experience Jesus more, but we might get a better picture of who Jesus is, and we will know him more intimately as a result.